Divasa Now, the #1 place for news and politics. I'm your host, Edward Lannigan. This is Divasa Now. Today, we will be talking about our predictions for the elections, and our various other things about the elections, and of course, our interview with Vittel Akkad of the Action Divasa Party. So, let us quickly start with my interview with Vittel Akkad. Unfortunately, we can't play you any audio clips, but I can give you quotes and various other things related to it. He has created a paramilitary, called the DNRF, which is supposed to be a military faction for the Action Divasa Party, and that stands for the Division National Revolutionary Front, which sounds a bit revolutionary. But let us see how they actually behave in context. But Mr. Akkad had certain ideas regarding the other membership of the Action Divasa Party, and that was the core of our interview. To quickly describe the DNRF's goal, it was to start off as a terrorist organization. Yes, Action Divasa had terrorist organizations as part of it, to protect Divasa from invaders and immigrants like peers and Wetons. Yes, calling natives to their land immigrants and invaders, which is most peculiar, in what would peers call most divisions. So a bit of an interesting version there from Mr. Akkad. And he also said the DNRF was now directly under the party leadership's control, which is an interesting thing, as Mr. Akkad had certain ideological differences with the leadership, and called them democratic liberal communist pigs, a direct quote from Mr. Akkad, which most people, such as the communists and the Foxhound Party, would consider a most surprising label. And he said that the leadership were more leaning to liberals than actual nationalists, as what they say. And he believes that the Action Divasa Party need to be reformed to an actual nationalist party, rather than being a far-right big tent party, which is the main reason why he formed the DNRF. But they also took it from his ownership to prevent such reforms, which, from my perspective, might be a good thing, considering Mr. Akkad's rather radical views. And most peculiarly, Mr. Akkad had certain plans regarding removing the corrupt, what he called the corrupt establishment, at least, of the Action Divasa Party. And he said that he didn't understand why they wanted to be allies with the liberal Foxhound Party, and that is evidence of corruption and liberal influence within the party. And he kind of wanted that the leadership and every member to face trials and political compass tests, symbolic trials, fortunately. At least that's what he said. Which is not the worst thing in the world, but he said it kind of survival of the fittest, which is peculiar. And he said that he believed that liberalism is treachery, which will be an interesting thing in regards to the Foxhound Party, the Democratic Alliance Party, and the far-left communists, as he would probably view them all as traitors. And he wanted the party to be far more exclusionary and more restrictionist and more purist to his parties. And he didn't really want a big tent party. And an interesting thing is when he talked to Evil, the leader of the Action Divasa Party, in regards to campaigning in the West Roseburgian senatorial election, he asked Mr. Evil which party is the enemy, and Evil said they're communists first. And then Mr. Akkad, according to Mr. Akkad, asked what about Foxhound, and then Evil said that they were cooperative/neutral with Foxhound, neutral with all other parties, which was an interesting piece of evidence information for every other party, that they considered themselves cooperative or neutral with Foxhound, and neutral with all the other parties.